Happy Monday morning, everybody. Welcome into a new week here on Morning JOX. Conrad Van Order, Damian Mitchell back with us here as we start a new week here in the month of February, and appreciate you joining us here on this Monday morning, a little bit warmer Monday morning. So things are starting to turn around here as the weather is warming up, and we put a bow on the football season, the 2025-2026 version at least, as college football's over. The NFL is now over as we have crowned a champion last night in Santa Clara, California. In the Super Bowl, we had the first edition of the IBOB over the weekend, so things are moving along, right? It's starting to feel a lot like spring, Damian. Football's in the rearview mirror, the weather's getting warmer, and we're now halfway through our IBOBs for the year.
Yeah,
at least the ones we're guaranteed.
Yeah, it's been this whole weekend was it was a joy. It really was, man. I listened. The Super Bowl, I think a lot of us had a gut feeling of how it could have gone. And I think we need to trust that we should have trusted our gut. Like, yeah, this is about what we thought was going to happen. And then on Saturday, got the first version of the IBOB in Neville Arena. Didn't necessarily go in one team's favor, but in the other team, it was a good game regardless. But I think the past couple days, man, in sports, and it really hit me when you said that the football season is over.
It is.
So do we hit the reset button when the Stallions play? Does that start the 2026-2027 calendar?
Yes.
Okay. I was making sure.
So we don't have that much longer to go.
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
be a few weeks until.
We love ball down here, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was great to see a lot of people on Friday out at Crafts for the Stallions. I know they had a big showing on Saturday as well. So it seems like a lot of people are excited for the start of the Stallions season. But we will obviously have plenty of time to get to that and everything that A.J. McCarron is doing with those guys in Birmingham this year. But we got to start with the Super Bowl, recap what we saw last night on our television screens, as it was about not quite 4 hours long for the entire presentation of the broadcast. But we've got to cover everything, because we know obviously with the Super Bowl it's not just about the game. And certainly on Super Bowl Sundays like yesterday, I think puts a little more emphasis at times on the other things that go on with the game, because the game itself maybe not the most compelling, at least for the majority of it. But nonetheless, the Seahawks, they have won their second Super Bowl championship in franchise history, 29-13. So they finally get revenge on the New England Patriots for the Malcolm Butler interception all those years ago. And really a game that was dominated by the Seahawks defensively. And it kind of reminded me a lot, and it looked different, right? Because it's not the Legion of Boom Seahawks, right? With Earl Thomas and Richard Sherman and Cam Chancellor and all those guys back there, which was, just a monster all those years ago. But it kind of reminded me a lot of, if you remember, when they won their first Super Bowl and they went up against a Denver Broncos team that was admittedly much better offensively than this version of the Patriots was. But you saw in that game where you went into it and you're like, man, Peyton Manning and the Broncos, they'd broken all these records. They were so great. And then the Seahawks had one of the best defensive performances in modern Super Bowl history. And then they had another one last night, in my opinion, because the Patriots did ultimately score 13 points in the fourth quarter in garbage time. But it was 19-0 for a good chunk of this game, to where it felt like, the Seahawks were just going to dominate it. So it was 12-0. 9-0 at halftime. Then it was 12-0 in the third quarter. Then the Seahawks start the fourth quarter and make it 19-0. And, the Patriots would respond and go down the field, might make it 19-7. But, you just never felt like anything that the Patriots were doing was actually getting them back into the game. I was just looking for the over. That's all I needed. And we got really close thanks to the holding call that prevented it from hitting, but that's neither here nor there. But defensively, they were on point last night for the Seahawks. They were able to get after Drake May. They were making him incredibly uncomfortable, as we've seen him really all throughout the postseason so far this year. But you had 6 sacks, forced 3 turnovers. You didn't turn the ball over at all yourself offensively, which we knew was going to be a big thing for Sam Darnold going into the game. And we knew both teams like to run the football, and Kenneth Walker decided, yeah, you know what, I'm going to go win us a Super Bowl last night. So it was a great performance by the Seahawks overall. Again, Kenneth Walker, he was your MVP. He had 135 rushing yards to go with 26 receiving yards. And again, if it wasn't for that late holding call, he would have been about 170 and a touchdown on the ground. So but he was fantastic. Sam Darnold really didn't have to do a whole lot. He wasn't great, but again, he didn't turn the ball over. He goes 19 of 38 for 200 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. You look at Drake May and you go, man, all right, 295 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. He did throw the 2 picks, but I mean, I guess to his credit, he threw for about 294 of those yards in the fourth quarter. But I mean, it was up until that fourth quarter. I mean, he was having one of the worst Super Bowls. I mean, it was very. It reminded me, from what you saw from the Seahawks, right? It reminded me a lot of kind of what you saw when they won their first one. For the Patriots, though, it reminded me a lot of this game. It felt like watching the Patriots and Rams Super Bowl, but the Patriots were the Rams this time.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it reminded me of.
Yeah. Like the Seattle Seahawks defense, they made Drake May so rattled early on that he was overcompensating in the second half. Like,
he was just scared.
Yeah, like he was seeing ghosts. Like the thing is, we know Sam Darnold saw ghosts years ago.
Yeah,
Drake May was seeing those same ghosts in the Super Bowl, man. And I mean that defensive front was just causing. I mean, they were just causing havoc, and it never felt like New England could find anything. And to me, I think they put a lot on Drake May's plate where they made themselves one-dimensional. It was kind of a situation where your defense was doing everything they possibly could early on. They were holding them to field goals. Yeah, they were getting down the field. It was bend but don't break. And it felt like New England was like, okay, we're going to have to throw the ball. We're just going to have to throw the ball all over the yard. And again, I had Ramondre Stevenson on my fantasy team this year. So there were games where if you just gave him the ball, he was bound to like break a couple here and there. But I felt that New England felt the pressure early on, and they were asking Drake May to throw them out of a jam, and he just couldn't. At that point, Seattle was pinning their ears back. They were sending exotic blitzes. They were sending corners. I mean, Devon Witherspoon was in the backfield quick. And I think that the game plan for New England was kind of scrapped early on, and Drake May was forced in a situation where he had to win you the football game, and he just couldn't do it. It was the damage had already been done. And to Sam Darnold's credit, a guy that even last night, I was thinking in the back of my mind, there's going to be a mistake being made, but he didn't make it.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't. He went about that game the best as you really wanted him to do, where it's like, hey, don't lose it for us. We'll figure everything else out. Kenneth Walker was toting that thing, and once they realized that he was getting about 4 or 5 yards a pop, yeah, this game's pretty much in our control. So shout out to Seattle for the way they dominated, and to your point too, man, New England offensively, it just didn't work out. There was nothing they could have really done to really threaten them, and when they did, it was already too late.
Yeah, it was just it was a really rough night for the Patriots offensively, and they could never get anything going. And again, I know a lot of people, probably had a similar thought after the game last night. But I just go back go back to the Denver game, right? And I know, that game I guess you thought you weren't doing anything offensively because of the weather, right? And now you watch this, you're like, oh, maybe it was more than just the weather. But why'd you win that football game? It's because you let Drake May run with the football, and that's ultimately what saved the day for that offense in the AFC Championship. And then you go to this game yesterday, and it felt like when nothing else was working, it was, we'll go to the thing that's kind of gotten you out of a funk all season long, which is using your quarterback's legs. And they didn't want to do it. And on top of that, I mean, you knew going in, we'd heard that Drake May was dealing with a shoulder injury, for the last couple of weeks, and he wasn't going to be 100%. And okay, you're still going to throw the football, but it just feels like maybe there could have been a better game plan there. Because when, they love running the football, and, you had, 5 carries for Drake May, and then you had, 6 for Stevenson and 6 for Henderson. And, it doesn't feel like that's the game plan that they wanted. That's not the kind of game the Patriots wanted to play. And to the Seahawks' credit, though, I mean, when you're going 3 and out essentially every time you're on the field offensively, it makes it really, really difficult to get any momentum. So, Again, shout out to the Seattle Seahawks as they win the game 29-13. Sam Darnold, Super Bowl champions. Mike McDonald now becomes the third youngest head coach to win a Super Bowl, behind Sean McVay and Mike Tomlin when they won their first ones. So a very special moment for him. But then, of course, as we know, what comes with success in the NFL, and that is change because, I mean, 30 minutes after the game was over, you had Kubiak, the offensive coordinator there, Clint Kubiak for the Seahawks. He confirms that he is, in fact, going to be the new head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. So we knew that one was coming, but just kind of funny that it's, all right, you won the Super Bowl, woohoo. All right, now it's on. I got to,
I got to go to work, y'all.
Yeah, I gotta go to work. I gotta catch a flight to Las Vegas and turn that organization around. So that's just that's the way that it goes. But a big congratulations to the Seattle Seahawks. But there were other things going on around the halftime show and the commercials and all of that good stuff. So getting away from the game for a minute, I'll just say this. On the commercial front, there weren't really any. The one that stood out to me was the Dunkin' Donuts commercial.
Yeah.
That had all the 90s sitcom. It had George Costanza and Joey from Friends and Jennifer Aniston, and then Tom Brady comes in at the end, whatever. That was great. Really enjoyed that one. There weren't really a whole lot of others that, just totally stood out to me after that.
Yeah. I thought the Coinbase thing was cool because they had the Backstreet Boys playing. I didn't know. I was sitting on pins and needles like, what is this going to
I was
be?
about to say, it worked because I paid attention to it.
Exactly.
But I was expecting it to be something cooler than what
right.
it was.
I was like, Coinbase? Okay.
Yeah, but, I mean, it had me paying attention. I liked the, the other thing. The only thing I went and was like, ooh, that actually interests me was the, it was like the movie that they had at the very beginning, the commercial for it's the Brad Pitt movie.
Yeah.
That's his character from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood that they're doing like a spinoff of, which I thought that was great. But if you didn't know that that's already coming out, you would have no idea what that was because there was no title or anything.
Yeah, they just said coming soon.
But I was like, oh, I forgot that was a thing. I'm glad that they reminded me that's coming out.
Yeah.
But
Scream 7, didn't even know we had gotten to 6, to be honest. I was like,
care.
Oh, okay. We're still doing this.
Yeah, again, there were a lot of them. It was just like, oh, okay. So I don't know. Maybe maybe I stepped out of the room at the wrong time and I missed the good ones or something. But I feel like there were like 2 or 3 that really kind of stood out to me. It's like, oh, okay, that was nice. But what about the halftime show? Because obviously, half the world thinks it was the best halftime show ever. Half the world thinks it's the worst halftime show ever. I guess I'm somewhere in the middle. I thought it was fine.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't think it was bad. I thought the set was cool, right? Like bringing in, and the fact that you had all the people that were dressed up like I guess grass technically, or like the cornfields, whatever it was. And those were all people that were like kind of moving around, and it was like a maze almost shifting around him. I thought that was cool. Like obviously he was telling a story and kind of like trying to portray, life in Puerto Rico. I mean, look, I'll put it like this. I thought I enjoyed it more than I expected to. And the fact that I didn't understand a single word he was saying, it was still kind of a vibe, right? Like it wasn't.
Exactly.
There was nothing overtly political. It was just him dancing. And anytime that I get to see Jessica Alba on my television, I'm not going to complain about that. That's what I'm saying.
They just snuck by, and they snuck it on us too. I was like, wait a minute, hold on.
Well, it's funny because I pointed it out and I said, is that Jessica Alba? And my wife goes, no, why would she be up there? And I said, I understand that, but
that looks like Jessica Alba.
I think you're going to want to trust me on this one because I feel like I'm not going to miss that.
Exactly.
So I think that was her. And then it was like, oh, wow, it really was her. So, again,
still got it.
I know some people feel a certain type of way about it. Still think it's kind of weird that you had the Super Bowl halftime performer not sing any songs in English, but it is what it is. It was better than I expected it to be.
It was a vibe. And I'm with you. Didn't understand a single word.
No,
but I found myself kind of standing up like, oh, okay, like this is a nice little, I'm with it. Like, am I going to get in my car and listen to Bad Bunny anymore? No. Like, it didn't change my listening habits. But I was just like, wow. The setup was nice. It was cool.
And you got some Lady Gaga.
Right.
I'm never mad about
the first thing that popped in my head when I saw Lady Gaga was the Kanye thing. When it's like, I love Lady Gaga. What does she know about Puerto Rico? That was the first thing that popped in my head. It was just, that was funny. It was cool. I thought it was a vibe. Listen, to each its own. I didn't understand a single word. But I had this thought. I was like, wait a minute. All right, I don't understand a word that he is saying. Even the most popular, his quote unquote most popular songs he was singing, never even heard it. Never even heard him. But I was just like, you know what? For what it's worth, it was pretty cool.
My favorite line that my wife said last night was at one point, because when he was about to start or whatever, I was like, oh, I wonder who's going to come. Because, some people thought that, like, because he has a couple songs with Drake. People thought Drake might show up. Some people thought Travis Scott might show up. Some people thought he might do his Cardi B song. And so, my wife I'm like, oh, man, I wonder who's going to show up. And my wife goes, well, Justin Bieber's going to show up, right? And I said, well, why would Justin Bieber show up? Like, she was like, yeah, they did the Despacito song. And I said, honey, that's not Bad Bunny. And she goes, yeah, it is. It's the Spanish song with Justin Bieber. And I said, that's not bad. I was like, that's Daddy Yankee and somebody else.
Right. It was like,
but it was just funny. She was like, oh, you mean there's other famous Spanish musicians other than Bad Bunny? I was like, yeah, it was just funny. She was like, yeah, they're going to do Despacito, right? And I was like, no, I don't think they're going to do that. I don't think they do that one. But it's just funny because I think there's probably millions of people around the country last night that had some form of, oh, yeah, the Despacito song. That's them because that's either that or, oh, Gasolina. That's which he did. He did have that at the beginning.
I was like, I know this one. I know this one.
I did think that was funny. I was like, he started off with like, all right, I know y'all all like, oh, who's the Spanish guy? But I'm going to play the one song that you all like. And yeah, you got a little Gasolina. That was funny. But
all 20 seconds of it.
Yeah, all 20 seconds of it. But nonetheless, the game, not one of the more memorable Super Bowls, to say the least. And then the halftime show. I mean, again, I don't think it was one of the best ever. I don't think it was one of the worst ever. I think it was a halftime show of all time. And it is what it is.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. You either liked it or you didn't like it. But we'd love to hear from you, your thoughts on the game, the halftime show, the commercials, everything going on around the Super Bowl. Your final thoughts, because football season's over until the Stallions come around here in a handful of weeks. But we'd love to get your thoughts on everything going on last night as we put a bow on the Super Bowl. And we also look at a pretty big basketball game that took place on Saturday afternoon as well. The first edition of the IBOB for this season. We'll break it all down for you. That's next on Morning JOX. Welcome back into Morning Jocks here on your Monday morning, the Monday after the Super Bowl. Conrad and Damian here with you, recapping the Seahawks win over the Patriots last night, 29-13. We also talked a little bit about the halftime show, the commercials, all that good stuff. And unsurprisingly, a lot of you chiming in on the Courtesy GMC text line, 205-834-9450. And this is exactly what I talked about earlier. See, on one hand, we have people chiming in saying, couldn't understand a word. And in my opinion, it was dog crap, except they didn't say crap. And then you have other people that are saying, yeah, man, I was gaslit by the fact we only got 20 seconds of gasolina. See?
Right.
So it's like you got some people like, I kind of want more.
Right. Don't tease us with it.
But I will also say this, right? I did at one point on my phone, I did go on YouTube and there was another halftime show going on. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go check that out. And I will say this. Granted, I could name you probably just about as many Kid Rock songs as I could Bad Bunny songs. Name you a lot more of that other person. But I could probably name you about as many Kid Rock songs as I could Bad Bunny songs. Just being honest with you, I'm sorry, but if you consider Kid Rock to be a talented musician, then I probably question your musical taste, in my opinion.
I'm with you. If you got something to say about Florida Georgia Line and you rocking with Kid Rock, you deserve to get slapped in the mouth.
Yeah, like
I ain't got time for that.
It is like if we enjoy it for what it is, and we like you, it's fine. But he's not very good. No. It is. He's not.
Now I will say Brantley Gilbert. I've been to a Brantley Gilbert concert.
Yeah,
the dude is talented.
He sounded good.
Yeah, he's a good one. I ain't gonna lie. Like I have seen him live. And, I mean, he's kind of in the bro country kind of, like, genre. Because Tyler Hubbard, one half of Florida Georgia Line, has written songs for Brantley Gilbert. So I know, like, okay, I expected him to be pretty decent.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. And I thought that, again, in my opinion, the production value that they put into that event, I was actually really impressed by that. I thought they did a really good job with that. And when I was checking it out, there were 4 to 4.5 million people on YouTube watching it. So, again, I guess I look at it like, it's kind of best of both worlds, right? If you wanted nothing to do with what was going on with Bad Bunny, then you had another option, and they put a lot of effort into it. It looked like they did a great job, and a lot of people went and checked that out, and I think that's great. And then if you wanted to watch Bad Bunny, you had that. So, again, everybody can be happy. It was a halftime show. Worst case scenario, it was 14 minutes of your life that you'll never get back.
Right.
I think you can find 14 minutes somewhere to make up for that. But we'll get to some of your more of your reaction coming up on the Courtesy GMC text line. But we do have to talk about the IBOB because that was going down on Saturday afternoon there in Neville Arena. And, man, what a basketball game this was. This was a really fantastic game, and it had a feel like last year, right? And again, we talked a lot about it's not number 1 versus number 2, right? It's got a different feel to it. But, it certainly felt a lot like those kind of matchups from last year on Saturday. So Alabama, they roll into Neville, they get a 96-92 victory over Auburn. So back-to-back wins in Neville for the Crimson Tide for the first time in 14 years since the 2011-2012 season, since that's happened for Alabama. But really, it comes down to they shot the lights out of the gym. And that's going to make up for a lot of deficiencies that they had with turnovers and things like that. Because when you shoot 54% from the game or from the floor, 52% from behind the three-point line, and 87% from the charity stripe, it's going to be tough to beat you even when you do turn the ball over. So a great offensive performance for Alabama. Auburn obviously able to do enough. Even when they're not shooting the ball as well as Alabama, they did enough defensively, had more opportunities to go to the charity stripe, just weren't able to ultimately convert on them. But LeBaron Philon, he leads the way for Alabama. He had 25 points, 7 of 15 from the floor on the night, had 5 rebounds and 6 assists to go along with that. Aiden Holloway, he had 15 points. Amari Allen had 17. He was massive. And then Charles Bediako, the man who was still eligible to play, and we're expecting that today we will find out the actual ruling because the court hearing was on Friday, but they didn't make a decision before they went home on Friday. So now we're assuming that decision is going to come out today, but he was still able to go. He was a perfect 5 for 5 from the floor, added 3 rebounds, so 12 points there for Mr. Bediako. But you can't say enough, man. It felt like Holloway had big shots down the stretch. Amari Allen had big shots down the stretch. Phylon had a big three with a couple minutes to go to kind of spark things for Alabama, where they started to kind of take control of the game in the final few minutes. But it was a great win for them. And then for Auburn, I mean, I think you got to you're frustrated you lost, but on the positive side, right, you didn't get anything from your bench at all in this game, and you still almost won. But Tahad Pettiford had the best he's looked in a minute. He had 25 points, 9 of 16 shooting, 3 of 8 from deep. Keyshawn Hall had 24. So, again, it's one of those things. You shoot 32% from 3. Alabama shoots 52%. Like, it's going to be tough for you to win in those types of situations. But they forced a lot of turnovers. That's what really kept them in the game. And so I think the fact you only lost by 4 with how well Alabama shot the ball, you can't be, don't want to be too hard on yourself about it. But it stings to lose that one at home nonetheless.
Yeah, it's the biggest thing for Auburn in pretty much a recurring theme in all of their losses, man. They can't shoot. There's no other way to really describe
it. If they get in a shootout with somebody like Alabama, that's not the game they want to play.
At all. And they have, again, this is the best game we've seen from Tahad Pettiford. And also from 3, they don't have anybody besides Tahad Pettiford and Keyshawn Hall that truly defenses have to worry about beating you. So it's just going to be tough for Auburn because, like you said, if they get into shootouts with teams like this, they're behind the 8 ball because you're hoping that you're going to hit at a higher clip. Alabama hit a lot of clutch shots down the stretch as well, where Auburn couldn't answer back, and if they did, it was a 2. They're chasing 3, so it's always that. Either it was a 4-point possession or a 4-point game or a 7-point game where you're chasing that one extra point. So you're needing an and one. And again, like it was a tale of two halves because first half you felt that Auburn was starting to dictate how the game was going to go. They were using their athleticism. They were getting to the cup. But when Alabama was forcing them to settle for shots, some were going in, some weren't. And you needed shots down the stretch to go in that were 3s, not 2s, because again you're chasing. So it kind of got Alabama forced Auburn's hand, and there was only so much time left on the clock where you could afford to just keep going for layups, and Alabama was willing to give it to you, and you were sending them to the free throw line to again make it an extra possession game, and Auburn just fell short. But again, it wasn't like Keyshawn Hall was lighting it up. He shot 22 times, and I mean, it wasn't like his shots were falling, but he was getting to the free throw line at a high clip. But overall, it was a great game on both sides. Like it felt like it did last year, where it was coming down to the wire and who was going to make the plays when needed, and Alabama made those plays.
Very well said there. So yeah, Alabama, they get a much needed win on the road against the Auburn Tigers. And now as we move along and look forward to the second IBOB, if you are the Auburn Tigers, that means you have a meeting with the Vanderbilt Commodores. That's going to come up tomorrow. You'll be able to hear that here on JOX. It's going to be a 6 o'clock tip-off there from Neville Arena, as Auburn will host Vanderbilt. And then for the Alabama Crimson Tide, they're not playing tomorrow. They play on Wednesday, but they're going on the road again to Oxford, where they will take on the Ole Miss Rebels. So that's what's on deck for both Alabama and Auburn. But again, Alabama now 1 game over the Auburn Tigers and in the SEC standings, and certainly getting some bragging rights here until we meet again in early March. But quickly, the rest of the SEC hoops for the weekend. Oklahoma, they upset Vanderbilt 92-91. They were up by a lot more than that for the majority of this game, and Vanderbilt found a way to scratch back into it. But ultimately, Oklahoma hangs on to win 92-91. Florida absolutely dominated buckyball and Texas A&M down in College Station.
Man.
So I think there's clearly the number 1 team in the conference, and they put a bow on that for the weekend. Arkansas gets past Mississippi State. Kentucky beats Tennessee, and that's really kind of all the big happenings from over the weekend in SEC basketball country. But a lot of you continuing to chime in with your thoughts on everything going on over the weekend as we roll along, and more of your thoughts on the Super Bowl, the IBOB, and everything else going on in a jam-packed weekend. We roll along here on the Monday edition of Morning JOX. Oh, welcome back into Morning Jocks here on your Monday morning, recapping a jam-packed weekend. If you're just now joining us, the Seahawks getting a 29-13 victory over the Patriots in Super Bowl 60. So they have now won their second ever Super Bowl championship. And unbelievably, Sam Darnold has a Super Bowl ring. Jalen Milroe has a Super Bowl ring. He is the first Alabama quarterback since Bart Starr to win
Let's go.
a Super Bowl.
There you go.
Yeah, he was a big pivotal part of the success of the team.
Listen, you gotta have teammates. You gotta have support there on the sideline.
Absolutely.
Man. He was in his role and he exceeded at a high level. So congratulations to Jalen.
Yeah, and congratulations to the Seahawks. They have officially, I think, been declared the winner of the Jalen Milroe for Ryan Grubb trade, and I'm glad that worked out well for the Seahawks. But in all seriousness, no, fun night last night. Not the most compelling game that we've seen, but a dominant defensive effort nonetheless from Seattle. We also had the halftime show. We spent a lot of time talking about that. And some of the other things going on around the game. And then, of course, Alabama, their win over Auburn 96-92 in Neville Arena on Saturday as they get the upper hand on the first matchup of the IBOB. But, hey, remember last year? This is exactly how it went last year, right? Alabama won at Auburn. Auburn won in Tuscaloosa. So now we'll see if that is a repeat of what we'll get coming up in a couple weeks when we get the IBOB Part 2 down in Tuscaloosa. But a lot of you chiming in here this morning with what your thoughts on everything kind of going on around the game and both games throughout the weekend. So 205-834-9450. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the courtesy GMC text line. And so we'll go try to start here at the bottom. This one says, Jason Myers was the real Super Bowl MVP. He set a record with 5 in the Super Bowl. And if I'm not mistaken, he also broke a record. He broke LaDainian Tomlinson's record last night of the most points scored in a single season in NFL history.
Okay.
So that's pretty remarkable.
Yeah, from a kicker, nonetheless, too. That's great.
Well, yes, and I guess you typically see kickers on those kinds of lists. I was more so like, oh, man, LaDainian Tomlinson had that record. That was more so my thing was like, oh, like a running back had that record. Yeah. That's remarkable. But that's when he had, 20-something touchdowns.
Right.
That one season. But, shout out to Jason Myers. He was fantastic last night. Nonetheless, let's see. Lewis chimes in. He says the polar bears with the Pepsis on the couples cam was good. Yeah, that was good. Kind of making fun of the Coldplay concert thing. Yeah, that one was good. On the commercial front, no doubt about it. Let's see. Don chimes in. He says it was a great sports weekend. The Super Bowl was good for me and my friends. We won some money. Said the Stallions had their best promotional weekend they've had in all 5 years of the team being back. He said the basketball game was great, but didn't go Auburn's way. Congratulations to all the Alabama friends on the victory. Holloway definitely shut up the jungle. Yeah, he had a big second half there in that game.
Since he's left, he's never lost in.
No, I guess you're right.
He's never lost in.
It's been it's been tough for him though. He hasn't played particularly well against Auburn in those.
No.
In those games, but he when he was needed on Saturday, he certainly.
Yeah, that left-handed shot was off the chain. Like he contorted his body and then just threw it up with the left hand. I was like, okay, that's a lot of awareness. That's a lot of awareness.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Let's see. A lot of you chiming in though on the halftime show as well. Like Chris, he says, okay, see, this is interesting. So this is a text he sent on Friday before the show. He said, I'm excited for the halftime show because I think it's fun to experience different cultures, especially on the world's largest stage. He then chimed in this morning, and he said, I completely agree with everything y'all said about the halftime show. Even though I didn't understand a word, he said you could tell that he truly tried to put on a good show. The vibes were high. I thought it was just fine.
Yeah.
Let's see. Fanboy says, I loved the halftime show last night. Thought it was great. And again, that's kind of what I said. Like, there's a lot of people that, at least from what I've seen, that said it's the best ever. It wasn't, in my opinion. Some people said it's the worst ever. It also was not, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. It's just, I'll be honest. Like, in some ways, I thought it was better than last year's show. And I like Kendrick Lamar way more than Bad Bunny. I didn't love Kendrick Lamar's show last year. I thought there were a lot of things they could have done differently.
Right.
Or just the way, I don't know. I was expecting more from that. And I think this one, in a lot of ways, maybe just because I didn't have really any expectations for it, was just better than I was expecting it to be.
Yeah, it was. You can tell the production. To me, I looked at the production of how it went very similar to when The Weeknd did his performance, where it's unless you listen to him, like we listened to The Weeknd, so we kind of knew what to expect as far as that was the After Hours album. Like there was a story being told within it. The same for Bad Bunny. I don't know what the story was, but you can tell he put 100% effort into the production of wanting it to be a spectacular performance. Whether I understood it or not, I'm like Chris said, the vibes were high. I found myself kind of just, doing a little hip toss. I was like, okay, like this is a nice little vibe. I don't know what he's saying, but when you listen to the crowd, they were turned up every time the music was switching. I was like, okay, somebody there knows what this song is, and they're having a good time. And everything I was seeing on Twitter and stuff is, oh, if you were there live, like you watched a wonderful performance. Even on TV, I was like, okay, this is cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is what it is. Lance chimes in. He says, I haven't seen a worse halftime show. I couldn't understand a single word. The NFL should be ashamed. It was a freaking disgrace. But I agree. Let it go. It was terrible, but let it go. See, again, I guess that's kind of my thing too, is like, I don't know. I understand why people are upset because people are texting, y'all don't get the point. No, I get it. It's the Super Bowl. It's an American. It is the pinnacle of American entertainment, right? It is the biggest event in our country every year. Do I think it's weird that you had somebody that doesn't speak English perform in Spanish? Yes, I do.
Right.
I don't think I don't think that you really have any other countries in the world that would do that. I agree with that. I 100% understand why people are upset with that. At the same time, I guess I look at it like, if you have enough time and energy to like really be this upset about it, then you should be really grateful, because I have real problems in my life and like things that I have to deal with on a daily basis, to where I'm more focused on that than the fact that some dude sang a Spanish halftime show. Like I've got stuff I got to deal with in my life.
And also, man, we eat at Mexican restaurants and we hear all this Spanish music when we're, sitting around, we're taking shots of tequila, eating salsa and chips. What's wrong with 15 minutes, man? Like we sitting hours in a Mexican restaurant. We get 15 minutes on a halftime show at the Super Bowl. It ain't that deep, man. It's just go with the vibes, man. Like I'm telling you, I frequent at nightclubs back in my single days. I would hear stuff like Bad Bunny, like Daddy Yankee. I'm like, hey, I don't understand what's going on, but the vibes are high. Everybody's out here dancing. Okay, this is cool. Like I'm down. I'm not going to go back and say, man, I can't believe I didn't understand Bad Bunny. I didn't understand that. I'm not going to just get in my car again and I'm not gonna hop in the passenger seat of my homeboy's ride and say, hey man, turn on that Bad Bunny. Like it's not going to happen. But the show was cool.
See, I think if you had Young Thug doing the halftime show last night, more people would have been able to understand Bad Bunny than him, and he speaks English.
Right.
So like, yeah. So it's
Yeah. It could have been worse. It could have been worse.
It is what it is. I mean, again, right? Obviously, people are going to feel strongly one way or another about it, and that's fine, right? Like we're all allowed to have our opinions on it and stuff. It's just, some people go to an extreme with it. I feel like. See, someone says Prime Kid Rock was phenomenal, but that was 20 years ago. Like, okay, right. I'll take your word for it. Like, yeah, sure, I'll take your word for it. Like, again, like Kid Rock. If I'm on the lake in the summer drinking some beer, if someone puts Kid Rock on, I'm not mad about it.
Right.
I'm also probably not going to turn it on, on my own, but like, I'm not going to be mad about that. It is what again, it is what it is. Like, what you're listening to.
Exactly.
Let's see. Somebody said people complained about Janet's boob, but then the bunny held his junk the entire show. Well,
that's one of your takeaways.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Let's see. This text says there were 2 Super Bowls this weekend, Seahawks versus the Patriots, and then that one that Auburn plays in every year. Get it. Guess I get what they're going for there. David says, so check this out for my fandom. Oh, this is pretty good. So he says, Alabama won the national championship for me in 2020. Then the Stallions won 3 in a row from 2022 to 2024.
That's what we do.
Then he said, my Mariners made it all the way to the ALCS this year, and now the Seahawks have won the Super Bowl. So that's,
all right.
What, 5 championships and 1 conference championship game appearance in the last 6 years? That's pretty good for you. That's pretty good.
Right. All you know is winning, dog.
That's pretty good.
That's kind of similar to my fandom.
Yeah.
I just saw Ole Miss go to the college football playoff.
Alabama went to the Final Four a couple
Alabama
years
went
ago.
to the Final Four in basketball a couple years ago.
Yeah, you're great. You're
Stallions, I stay shirtless at the Stallions games. Yeah, hey, I'm with you, big dog. We're nothing but winners over here, man.
I'm glad you're really ingraining yourself in the fan base. But all right, a lot of you chiming in, more of you continuing to chime in with everything going on around the game last night. And we wanna open it up to you. We want to let you share your voice and your thoughts on the game, the halftime show, all that good stuff. So 205-834-9450. Quick break for us, and we're back taking your text right here on Morning Jocks.
6:52 here on Morning Jocks. Damien and Conrad here with you for a few more moments as we get you set for McElroy and Kublik in the morning. Let me tell you about our friends at Hometown Roofing and Restorations. Trust the experts for your roofing needs. Over 1,200 roofers in the Birmingham area. Make sure you call someone you can trust. Hometown Roofers is family-owned, grounded in faith, and community-oriented. Their customer satisfaction focused with your needs in mind. You can count on honest communication. The goal is to get it right the first time. If it's an insurance claim, call Hometown. They'll take the ball for you, so you don't have to worry about any of the red tape and back and forth with the insurance company. Only top quality materials. Hometown is certified with 2 of the best national brands of shingle, and they offer lifetime material warranties. Financing is available. Wonder if you have an aging roof or roof damage? Hometown offers free inspections as well. Rated A+ by the Better Business Bureau. Hometown Roofing and Restoration can also handle siding, windows, gutters, and minor remodels. Give them a call at 205-984-4777 or visit htroofers.com. Again, that number is 205-984-4777 or visit htroofers.com. Hometown Roofing and Restorations. Do it right the first time.
Yeah, and I did get something wrong. Jalen Milroe is the first quarterback from Alabama to win a Super Bowl since, I apologize. It was Ken Stabler, not Bart Starr. I got them mixed up. Because Bart Starr obviously did win Super Bowls, but he was before Kenny Stabler. Kenny Stabler won Super Bowl 11. I know a lot of you were chiming in saying it was Joe Namath or Kenny Stabler. It was Kenny Stabler. Because technically Jalen Hurts doesn't count because he graduated from Oklahoma, so that's why he doesn't count there. But it was Kenny Stabler, not Bart Starr. I apologize. I did get that one crossed up. But a lot of you are chiming in again with your thoughts on everything going on over the weekend. Let's see. Eric in Adamsville chimes in. He says, I didn't watch the game or the halftime show because I had to work. He said, Puerto Ricos are Americans too, though, and 45 million Americans speak Spanish. There's always going to be performers that everyone doesn't like. Just get over it and allow others to enjoy their time in the spotlight. Let's see. John chimes in. He says, Bad Bunny is like the male version of Rihanna. He's an international megastar. That's why he ended up doing the halftime show. People are stupid.
I'm telling you, man, if you look at his numbers on Spotify, I'm not listening to him, but there are billions of streams on multiple songs that he has. So I'm with him, man. He's well known. He's well known. And again, it was a great show. It was fine.
This one says, he was not a fan of the halftime show, and he says this show would be better if Conrad wasn't on it. Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm going to let you know.
I think this show would be better if you weren't on it, probably, texting in. But again, I'm sorry that some people can't think about things logically, and they think about things with hatred, but that's okay. Because it's a lot easier to just hate on things as opposed to taking a look back and realizing that, guess what? Not everything has to affect your life.
Exactly.
I'm sorry that I'm probably half your age and I have to explain that to you, but you apparently need some help. Let's see. This says, entertainers just need to concentrate on entertaining, not making some kind of political statement. I agree with that, and guess what?
He entertained.
And that was one of my takeaways from it, was he didn't make a hugely political statement or anything like that. Nope. It was...
Let's spread love out here,
what did he say at the end of the day? The only thing more powerful than hate is love.
Boom.
It is what it is. Sorry we didn't get to all your text. We'll get to more tomorrow. We're back at 6 a.m. Mac and Cube is up next.